the LA Sparks ownership just made a move to potentially bring in Caitlin Clark, White Indiana Fever, Kelly Crosskoff, Amber Cox, Lynn Dunn. Count your days. The GOAT is gonna get the hell away from you very, very soon.
The most viewed player in women's professional basketball history is Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever. In 2026, a player scored 21.2 points per game on average. A player who, after joining the league, has increased WNBA television viewership to levels never seen before. A player who made a team that most people had forgotten about into the most talked about squad in the sport. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel if you enjoy the content. It may surprise you to learn that almost 92% of visitors have not yet subscribed. Even though it only takes a second and is free, it means the world to us. Have you already subscribed? Fantastic! I sincerely appreciate your help. Returning to the video now.
And we've already been informed she is on minutes restriction yet again. She will be playing 20 to 25 minutes yet again. Stephanie White is going to fuck with her.
And the team's head coach is unwilling to develop around her. She doesn't provide her the kind of support a celebrity of that caliber ought to. At the worst conceivable times, she replaces her in games. She compels her to participate in a system that is intended for a different player. Stephanie White is obstructing the move now that the Los Angeles Sparks have made it very evident that they are interested in Clark, and that a new and strong ownership group is putting actual organizational elements in place to construct something around her.
Stephanie White is keeping it her big plan to keep Caitlin Clark on these minute restrictions. Now, we know before last game, Aaliyah Boston did not play. Aaliyah Boston came into this game versus the Phoenix Mercury, played 38 damn minutes. She did not play 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, pull her out, completely killed her rhythm. Whatever the case is, it's clear to me, and it should be clear to you, that Stephanie White has a clear agenda against Caitlin Clark. She do not want to let her get in the rhythm. She do not want her to be herself.
Even if she doesn't really want Clark, she won't let her go. Clark is therefore locked in Indiana, creating a franchise that she might not want to remain in. And LA is there observing, anticipating, and constructing.
Being laid. I don't know. I tried to tell you guys, okay? I tried to tell y'all, Michael Thompson, Laker legend, wasn't just saying things just to be saying things. He has intel on what the hell is going on in LA, and especially with this new ownership group, who is the same ownership group that have made big moves for the Lakers. They're looking to make a major splash with this.
You must comprehend the current state of the Los Angeles Sparks. Before we get into the blocking and the drama, because this is not the same franchise that has been obsolete for the past 10 years, a consortium led by Mark Walter owns the Sparks. In late 2025, the NBA Board of Governors approved Walter's purchase of a controlling interest from the Buss family, making him the majority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Dodgers are also owned by Walter. He is the CEO of Guggenheim Partners, a multinational investment company with assets of more than $340 billion. This is not a casual sports enthusiast. This person succeeds. For several years, his Dodgers have been in the running for the World Series. His Sparks are the next endeavor, and his Lakers are the Lakers.
Right now, if you don't think the LA Sparks got something cooking, you're damn crazy. You're crazy. And if you ain't following the news, you better get to connecting the dots.
Magic Johnson is another member of the owning group. The same Magic Johnson who has a long-standing personal connection to success in Los Angeles. Walter and Magic are not developing to be respectable when they have a franchise. They are preparing to become the narrative. And Caitlin Clark is currently the biggest story in women's basketball.
One too, right? Like, she is unique in when the ball crosses half court, it's in the scoring zone. We have our hands full. You can't lose sight of her for a half a second. So we'll mix up what we're doing with her, mix up who's guarding her, but I don't think it matters that she hasn't played here since 24. She is who she is, and you know, as much as her scoring, shooting is a threat, her passing is even more dangerous. So we've got to be locked in, and it's not just whoever's guarding her, it's got to be all 5 people locked in, head on a swivel, because she's an unbelievable.
Lynn Roberts is the guy Walter and Magic hired to oversee the basketball side. During her 9 years at Utah, she helped the team become a reliable participant in the NCAA tournament. She's not a first-year coach trying to figure things out. She works as a builder, and ever since she entered the building, she has been combative.
Be making a run towards Caitlin Clark. Now, with that being said, last week we seen them sign none other than Kate Martin, one of Caitlin Clark, close friends from Iowa. We've been seeing Caitlin Clark subliminally pull up with her CC1s in the LA Sparks colorway. Now, with that being said, if you mean to tell me that if it walk like a duck, talk like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a damn duck. And that's exactly what the LA Sparks is doing.
Kate Martin was signed by the Sparks in May 2026. Let me explain why it is important if you're not paying attention. At Iowa, Caitlin Clark's teammate was Kate Martin. She witnessed the amazing NCAA run. She and Clark have a genuine connection, and she can describe Clark's style of play without the necessity for a coaching session. In the middle of a WNBA season, you don't just happen to sign Kate Martin. That's another indication, a message. Then there's Kelsey Plum, a capable offensive weapon who can work with a guard who controls the ball. The Sparks do more than merely gather corpses. They are building a squad to support a point guard who wants to create and have the ball in her hands. They are focusing on a guy they don't even currently have.
The beginning of the groundwork. One, Caitlin Clark has a wonderful, wonderful relationship with Cameron Brink that stems back to their Team USA days as high schoolers. Okay, that's one. Two, they brought in Caitlin Clark's best friend in the world. You are my best friend in the whole wide world, Kate Martin, in the whole wide world. They brought in Kate Buddy Martin from Iowa, okay? Now, they have decided to part ways with the GM, and they are going to be looking to make...
Let's discuss what Caitlin Clark is actually doing on a basketball court at the moment, because the moment you look at the numbers, the case for her staying in Indiana begins to crumble. In 2026, she is averaging a career-high 21.2 points per game. She is still becoming better in her third season as a professional. She has an additional All-Star choice. In March 2026, she won MVP of the FIA Women's World Cup qualifying competition. On average, 2.557 million people watched the June 6 Fever Liberty game on CBS, the second highest watched women's basketball game since 2000, and the most watched WNBA game on any network this entire season. Do we treat her as the focal point or as one of many pieces? Given all that has transpired this season, the response is uncomfortable.
Just following up on Caitlin from earlier, she didn't practice yesterday. Why was she not listed on the injury report, or why wasn't the injury report updated like earlier today if she woke up with soreness in her back?
Well, not everybody that doesn't practice or gets a pro day is on the injury report, so that happens all the time. And she wasn't listed on the injury report earlier because we expected her to play.
And is she injured? I guess is a fair question. Is she injured, or is it something other than an injury?
Her back is sore. So if there's anything more detailed than that, that's the training staff.
Do you think the Fever could get fined for not listing her as on the injury report?
Clark is pulled in the first quarter by Stephanie White. The Fever are later defeated by a 16-point margin, 100-84. The cameras capture Clark and White engaged in what seems to be a furious altercation during a second quarter timeout. With a noticeable shake of her head, Clark gets up and walks behind White. Everyone in the nation is observing. Afterwards, White clarified that it was a part of the plan and that it was a minutes constraint. The problem with that theory, though, is this. After you cut your finest player, your plan resulted in a 16-point defeat. However, the strategy needs to be revised if the protection cost you the game and your star player's faith on national television. Both White and Clark openly stated there was no problem. To be exact, Clark declared, "I ride for Steph." The footage is there, so perhaps she was serious. There is a moment. In the midst of a crushing defeat, two competitive individuals are at odds with one another. Both parties tell reporters it was nothing, but that doesn't go away.
So when my neighbor comes up to me and tells me that he's so frustrated he's yelling at the TV because he wants Caitlin to shoot more, and you see social media, of course you do, and we all do, and we see frustration if Caitlin doesn't have the ball or if something goes wrong or if the team doesn't play well in the fourth quarter, all those things that happen in sports. What's your answer to those fans? I don't know that I really have an answer for the fans. I think, I have to answer to our team. In our franchise. And we're trying to win ball games. We're not trying to appease the masses.
At this point, there is a recorded public opinion in Indiana that the squad shouldn't be built around Caitlin Clark, which is when the frustration really starts to rise. People connected to the franchise made a straight forecast about it. You won't succeed if Caitlin Clark is the system. Take a moment to consider that the person that drives your ticket sales, television ratings, jersey sales, cultural relevance, and coaching philosophy, the most productive offensive player on your team should not be the system. For months, Reddit users have made it very evident. It was summed up in one comment. White is assembling a team around her own style of play rather than the excitement surrounding Clark and her fast-paced approach. That viewpoint is not out of the ordinary. That is not what the Sparks would do. With Lynn Roberts' aspirations and Mark Walters' resources, Los Angeles is built especially for a guard who sets the tempo and creates for teammates. They want the system to be a player. They want that player to be the focal point. They want her to be the conduit for the entire offense.
I mean, Caitlin to the ground, and boom, that's a hand to the neck, and then Alyssa Thomas steps over.
Man, this is so disgusting, bro. Like, this is why AT get the type of commentary that she gets. Look, that was unnecessary, bro. She literally punched.
However, it goes beyond coaching. It is the whole Indiana atmosphere that Clark lives in. Mercury versus Fever on June 24th. Driving into a loose ball scenario is Alyssa Thomas. She strikes Clark in the throat with her clenched fist. Thomas stands up. She glances at Clark on the ground. She treads on her. None of it was seen to the referees in real time. The game continued to progress. Clark took a seat on the ground. White described the missed calls as egregious when reporters questioned her about them later. One game for striking the most prominent player in the league in the throat with a closed fist. Due to a back issue that worsened during the same game, Clark missed the next 2 games. The 24-year-old was suspended for 1 game after taking a hit that should have led to an immediate dismissal and a serious league review.
Several members of Congress sent a letter this week to Commissioner Engelbert. They said they're concerned about what they called physical hostility and violence toward her. One line in particular said, quote, "Concerning reports suggest that many of these attacks against Caitlin Clark may be racially motivated." What's your reaction to that?
I think made a statement yesterday, so you can find that statement.
No, I understand that. I just mean as a coach, when you hear one of your players is being mentioned in a letter from members of Congress to the commissioner of the league, how do you handle that?
Again, that's not something we can control. We're not affiliated with those groups, and we try to keep the main thing, and focused on the things that we can.
No one in the WNBA's front office should feel at ease with the way things have gotten. On July 7th, a formal letter requesting accountability was delivered to WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert by a group of 11 Republican congressmen led by U.S. Representative August Flugger of Texas. Clark was referred to as the league's face. They cited particular instances of needless physical antagonism and violence such as the hip checks, eye pokes, and neck hit to Alyssa Thomas. If the pattern of behavior escalates to the level of civil rights crimes, they hinted at possible DOJ intervention. Additionally, they gave Engelbert until July 24th to reply. Congress sent a letter on a single player to the WNBA commissioner. The leadership of the league has been hesitant to admit the abuse. That is a qualified journalist who works as a professional WNBA reporter. Her evaluation is consistent with all of the video evidence, and she does not have a Twitter account. The target is Clark. The league doesn't move quickly. Additionally, the head coach of the team that is meant to be her home and protector has publicly stated that the offense shouldn't center around her.
I have a lot of questions, and obviously I haven't been available for like a week or so. So, first of all, I know what you guys are going to ask, and I did think it was a flagrant foul, and our reffing just needs to be better. And It's tough. Obviously, the refs are in a really difficult spot. It's one of the hardest jobs in the world, in my opinion, is to make calls. All you do is get yelled at the whole time by everybody. You're never winning. So I think for us, as the league's just got to do better protecting our players in that regard. I don't really think that it was up for debate. Obviously, it wasn't called in real time. You go back and watch the clip. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of been a discussion for like 3 years now, and I think we really need to do a better job protecting.
Following her injury-related absence, Clark addressed the cameras and stated that the league has to improve player protection. According to her, officiating needs to get better. Additionally, because this is Caitlin Clark, she denounced the harassment that other WNBA players were subjected to following the scandal. The Los Angeles Sparks are keeping a close eye on all of this. Every game, press conference, and substitution pattern is being observed by them. As they observe Indiana's poor handling of this, they are constructing the case for what is proper. Before the season even started, the Indiana Fever exercised their team option on Clark's contract for the 2027 season, guaranteeing her a salary of $597,596. She becomes a restricted free agent in 2028. Restricted does not preclude the Sparks from making an offer, but it does allow Indiana to match any offer. Clark may be eligible for a protected maximum of $1.3 million in 2027 and a super maximum of $1.7 million in 2028 if she is named WNBA MVP in 2026. That is still far less than what she is worth in terms of market value for a player whose face generates television numbers that haven't been seen in women's basketball since 2000. However, the Sparks can match the framework. Incentives, infrastructure, star treatment, and the kind of organizational commitment that says, "You are the reason we are here," can surpass it. Indiana is able to match a dollar amount. They can't compare to what Los Angeles stands for.
She's going to be on a minutes restriction, around 20 to 25, so we'll see what that looks like. But she will be available and able to play still with a minutes restriction.
You expect the same kind of distribution of how you handle those minutes by quarter as last time in LA?
No, because that's 10 more minutes a game than we had the last time. So, I think you can go for longer periods. I think the biggest thing is, when you haven't done anything really for a couple of weeks, it's endurance, right? It's building endurance, it's efficiency, it's getting back in rhythm, getting back with timing and flow and all of those things, and trying to expand the longer periods of time.
For the time being, Stephanie White can prevent this action. She can assure the journalists that nothing is wrong. She can talk about harsh coaching and competitive relationships, but she can't ignore the fact that Caitlin Clark is 24 years old, averaging career numbers, and seeing a team in one of the sport's largest markets assemble a roster tailored to her style of play. The most influential ownership group in women's basketball history wants her to be the focal point, and she is powerless to stop them. Clark has acted with professionalism. She has exercised caution. In every press conference, she has protected her coach and refrained from publicly criticizing anyone. She is not naive, though. She is observing what Los Angeles is constructing. Kate Martin was signed by her. Kelsey Plum was brought in by her. Her new head coach has openly said that the team's goal is to win. In a contract, you can trap someone's body. You can't capture their thoughts. And it's possible that Caitlin Clark's thoughts are currently traveling down the 405 freeway in the direction of Crypto Camarena. The Walter Group does not lose these kinds of races, so Indiana needs to learn it out quickly.